Hey guys, Mario Carrillo here, and in this video I'll be talking about my persuasive speech. So in America, according to the National Survey of Drug Use and Health, 19.7 million American adults ages 12 and older have battled and or is using a substance which is typically illegal drug. I know most of you or many of you have known or have relatives that has had this problem of abusing drugs. It is proven that every family or person at some point have dealt with a known individual that had or is dealing with a substance abuse program. As someone like myself working in the criminal justice field, I have seen firsthand the amount of individuals that get caught breaking the law due to their substance addicting, dealing from domestic violence due to alcohol addiction to some serious crimes due to the heavy drugs others may be taking. So, in what I'm talking about is that due to these drug abuses, more problems arise from that. So, some of these problems, like I said, domestic violence, um, people committing robberies, theft, vandalizing property, um, or hurting their family, and it's all due to their substance abuse on these illegal drugs. Most of the times, when people do abuse these drugs, um, they don't know what they're doing or they're out of it, so it's become a real problem. So this is so most of my speech, I'll be discussing some of the main points of the problems that the United States have and how they'll be dealing with the increased drug use that they see. I'll also be talking about the types of measures we could do to help these types of people who can't seem to stop using drugs, and how the government has tried to help and end this type of drug addictions. So, for my first main point, in the United States, like I said, there's more than 19.7 million people that are suffering or have suffered from substance abuse or drug abuse from the ages of 12 and older. Um, I got the statistics from a addiction statistic website. Um, it is said that adolescents ages 12 to 17 are estimated to be 4% of the American population who suffer from the substance abuse, which equals to around 1 in every 25 um, people in this age group. So what does this tell you? That a lot of these adolescents are being influenced or um, typically suffer from this substance abuse from either seeing it in their household or the influence that they hang around with, or just as we see now, social media plays a big part of it. Um, you have famous people or other people posting how cool it is or trying to like normalize drug use. So these adolescents or kids are seeing that and are trying to imitate it just because they think that they're gonna look cool. Many of us has probably seen videos of some of these kids trying to imitate um, these famous people and using drugs, thinking that they will look cool. Um, Another age group that we do see it a lot in is elderly individuals ranging from the age of 65 and older. They do suffer from substance abuse. There has been approximately 9,700 people suffering from alcohol abuse in this age group, and 93,000 people from drug use. And when I say drug use, yeah, sometimes it may be those heavy drugs that we hear about. For example, like heroin, marijuana, ecstasy, stuff like that that they may use. But mainly, when it comes to elderly people, the drugs they do abuse is prescription drugs. Um, as you know, as you get older, you will be prescribed with all sorts of prescription drugs, and sometimes you will only have like one or two refills for them. But since this is people's daily intake to go on with their days, they get hooked into it. So as you know, with everyday usage of drugs, they're gonna be dependent into using these type of drugs. So this is how they end up abusing drugs, from being in nursing homes, trying to steal them from the cards, because they are so dependent of these drugs. Another big issue, like I said, was alcohol. Alcohol abuse is one of the biggest issues that we see here in the United States, or probably around the world. People that are abusing alcohol do play a big part in criminal activity, from getting caught in DUIs to domestic violence and those sorts of crimes. Um, so, what leads Americans to start abusing drugs? And like I said, it has to be they're depending on it, or it has to do the way they were grown up, the way they grew up in their household, the things they saw. Maybe they use drugs to cope with their feelings. Maybe they just abuse drugs because they seen that type of people when they were growing up. Another reason that I saw in my research of people, Americans abusing drugs, is due to their mental state. So a lot of people suffer from high levels of stress or anxiety, and this comes either from their jobs or from their household, like I was saying. Um, so they just use drugs in order to drift away from that stress and that anxiety that they may have. Um, Another point of why they become addicted to drugs is that they might suffer from a traumatic event. Um, a lot of soldiers come down from coming back from the war, couldn't cope back in society, so they usually drift towards alcohol abuse, drug use. That way they forget um, what they saw over there, what they experienced. So a way that they're trying to a solution that they've been trying to find here, is especially for soldiers, is finding behavioral health therapy, um, taking them to see a therapist, talk about their problems, um, express their feelings and not hold them in. That way they don't have to abuse drugs. And if they're already abusing drugs, um, for a solution for that, we have a call, those programs, groups for alcoholism, where you can go and talk about your experiences, how you're coping with it, and trying to go sober. We also have um, the therapy houses, to where you could get admitted so you could get clean. So this is a lot of ways in which or solutions that we could help those individuals if you do know somebody that has is suffering from drug abuse.